Hello guys! I know that some of you are afraid or at least worried about the potential future collapse, or as I prefer to say, dissolution of Russian Federation. Taking into account protests in Bashkortostan, I feel the need to explain you more about this potential dissolution of 22 national republics within Russian Federation, because sometimes people are afraid of the things they don't know, and not because they are truly dangerous. Maybe this is the only key to future security in the world. I mean, the collapse of Russian Federation. Let me tell you more. My name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of the brutal Russian invasion. So if you're new to the channel, you support Ukraine, please subscribe and help us fight against Russian propaganda, fake news and all that evil they spread. And my longtime friends, check your subscription status and hit notification button. Those of you who follow the channel for some time know there is a good video in our Soviet myths debunked and Russian crime series where we speak about the potential dissolution of Russian Federation, because actually it consists of 22 extremely different republics, and what is worse, Moscow totally does not give them autonomy and simply drinks blood and resources from these republics. Many of them had ambitions to be independent after the collapse of Soviet Union, but were quickly brought back into the dying Russian Empire. Now they have the chance to liberate themselves, and they also have the reasons for that. Also, it is important to understand that working with the national elites, speaking with the leaders of the protest, we can actually safeguard this process and try to prevent all the things that many politicians are afraid of. Even though I believe we don't have to be afraid who will possess nuclear weapons and other stuff, because now the greatest world maniac actually possesses them. And yes, I mean Kremlin goblin. So let me tell you more what is happening in Bashkortostan today and why is it so important even for Ukraine. And remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel and demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine and democratic values. So here we have Bashkortostan, one of 22 Russian national republics, located really far away from Moscow with its own capital in Ufa. It has close to 5 million people of population and the size of an ordinary EU country. It is located close to the Urals, the Ural Mountains, and borders with two other republics like Tatarstan and Udmurtia. Both of these republics have great independence potential, and they were actually, some of them were even actually proclaiming that independence, Tatarstan, in 1991. They speak Bashkir language, but what is bad, they were heavily Russified, and at the moment 96 know Russian and 25 know their own national language. But their traditions, their appearance, their religion, they are Muslim, is very far away from what Ruski Mir doctrine spreads. And that's why actually Moscow often takes people from these republics to the front lines in Ukraine, thus committing serious crimes against these cultures and these peoples too. They try to, I don't know, it's a very improper way to say kill two birds with one stone. They destroy Ukrainian culture and people, and they also destroy national republics that do not suit this image of Ruski Mir. But what is happening right now? There were protests against the arrest of an activist whose name is Alsynov. This is also an example of Russification. Fail is definitely not a Russian name, and Alsynov is a Russified surname. These Russian endings are a curse to many of Ukrainian surnames and other previously occupied cultures, and the same is here in Bashkortostan, because definitely he was Alsyn or someone like that. So Fail Alsynov is an activist fighting against bad behavior with Bashkortostan environment, against gold mining, which is widespread there, and he was protecting one of the mountains against these gold mines that are needed for Kremlin, once again, to feed their military machine too. And because of his speech in one of the villages in Bashkortostan, he was arrested, saying that he is a nationalist, of course he's an extremist, and also he undermines the professionalism of the Russian army. Yes, in 2022 he advised Bashkir's people not to participate in Putin's and Russian war against Ukraine. So he was arrested, but what is more absurd and very typical of Russian Federation, the report on him, so he was reported to police by the head of this Bashkortostan Republic. So can you imagine, let's say, an ordinary activist fighting for a mounting against gold mining in one of the villages in Bashkortostan, and the person who reports to the police is the head of that republic. And in Russia, they are extremely afraid of protest, and hundreds and thousands of people went out in the city by Mak, where the court is located, to protect the activists they support so much. Russian Federation did not know what to do. And of course, they put lots of special police forces like OMON that beat people, and they shut down internet, and even VPNs do not work, and lots of streaming services are forbidden. So that's what they do in this modern world. When we believe that at least the truth can spread quickly, they simply turn it all off or use some like gadgets that do not allow internet to work properly. That's why they so much hate social media, including our YouTube. So now there are lots of cars, lots of police forces. I will not be surprised if not even from Bashkortostan, but directly from Russia. And they are trying to suppress this protest, but they are growing at the moment. And what is also important, there are lots of videos of people from Bashkortostan who address soldiers who are of Bashkir origin in Russian army, and they ask them to return back home to protect their own people instead of following the orders of one crazy person. Can you imagine that? And this is actually an important message that many of these national republics are sending us. I think that if the world and global politicians were smarter, they would invest in such movements, in such protests, and in the liberation of many adequate, non-maniac, non-hating peoples within Russian Federation. Russia is small, it's around Moscow and St. Petersburg, and the majority of its territories and lands are occupied, and many nations that have their own languages, cultures, that diversity, they are suppressed. They are not allowed to practice this. Their own languages are taken out of schools. You cannot imagine how awful Russia is to other nations that are a part of that federation. And I honestly think that it would be much easier to negotiate with these new leaders, with these new elites, to control nuclear weapons, to discuss the prices for the natural resources that they actually possess. Remember to check the video about the dissolution of Russia that we have on the channel, which explains a lot, and you will be surprised to learn that some of these republics that actually want to be free from Moscow are the size of Argentina, which is like the 6th largest country in the world, if I'm not mistaken. So we have to observe these things very carefully. We don't have to be afraid, because what can be worse than Kremlin gobbling in control of nuclear weapons at the moment and sending messages, we will nuke London, we will nuke Warsaw, we will take Baltics. He is already crazy. We are actually already at the bottom of this danger and terror, so we have to look for solutions, and these solutions, they cannot be ordinary, and we cannot return back to normal, back to 2019, for example, or even to 2012, because Russia actually attacked Ukraine in 2014, and war lasts more than 10 years already for us. So thank you for your support and understanding. Don't be afraid of the future collapse of Russia. Pray for its peaceful dissolution, and you'll be surprised, and maybe you even will choose to travel to some of these beautiful republics. My love and support to people from Bashkortostan. It would be magical if we have someone from the that part of the world on the channel. I know their resources are blocked, their comments are blocked. Russian bots love reporting. We feel that on the channel too. Please forgive if some comments are disappear. I feel it's just like their work and oversensitivity of YouTube. But united we stand because truth always prevails. And may like all the best happen to people who want justice. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons. That's an honor to have you in my life. Subscribe to my Instagram, Threads, and Twitter, and join our Discord. And also check a beautiful collection of Ukrainian months in our merch shop that will introduce you to beautiful Ukrainian names, and also they work well as conversation starters. But most importantly, thank you for your support of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!